This is a plastic fuel tank off a Monster 695, 2007, 2008. And it had an issue that lots of the plastic fuel tank bikes are getting, and that is that the two fittings here were all corroded up. This one here is the water drain from around the fuel cap recess, so when it rains and it gets water up in here, on the top of the tank, this hole here is the recess drain, and this hole here is the breather circuit from the tank that goes through the cap, and this rubber grommet here is part of the breather circuit. Usually it's only this one that blocks up, but on this tank both were really corroded up. And what you get, I'll put some photos up. I took some photos before I fixed this, but these two were just really corroded up. Now this is a little aluminium nipple that screws into the tank, and it screws into a brass insert like all these things, these brass inserts. They're not lubricated at all when they're put in. They might even be Loctited, and so I wouldn't dare pull them out because you'll probably break them off instead of remove them, and then you've got to get the thread out. What I usually do is get a drill bit and just drill through them. You can drill through them a fair way. If you look inside the tank, you can see the passages there that they go into, and you'd have to drill a long way to drill a hole right through. The hole itself is maybe a bit smaller than 2.5 mil. I usually use a 3 mil drill bit just to try and make them a little bit bigger, so in the future they're a little bit more resistant to blocking up. But if you want to play it safe, you could go 2 or 2.5 and then just clean it out as much as possible. But it's really common. I see a lot of it on these monsters, on 1098s, series bikes, anything with a plastic fuel tank with these nipples. Always make sure that they're not corroded up. One of the issues that water in the tanks can cause is that you'll see on the outside of the tank, this pump plate will be showing signs of fuel coming out around it. There'll be fuel sitting in a bolt head and stuff. And what often happens when they have water in them is the O-rings, as you can see here, get all this white sort of corrosion build up, and this pump plate, it's clean now, but I can put a photo up of what it was like when I pulled it out. What can happen is the gunk seems to push this plate away from the fuel tank, and then they start weeping fuel out. So that's one thing to be looking for. If you see one of these fuel pump plates in a plastic tank leaking or weeping fuel, always pull it out, have a good look at the O-ring, make sure there's no corrosion build up on it, and make sure that those drain nipples are clear